have a question for Black people and Latinos. I have a question for Haitians, Africans, all of those that practice ancestral religions, all of those that practice Santeria, Voodoo, or Voodoo, whatever you choose to call it, witchcraft, magic, the dark arts, whatever label you have for it. I have a question for you. I have a serious question for you. And this is only for Black people and Latinos. I've watched quite a few videos where so-called Blacks and Latinos claim to cast spells on other Latinos and Blacks. And they talk about the effects that these curses had upon the person or the victims that they cast a spell upon. They claim that these spells had effect. And many of them boast and brag about how the integral spirit works on people. They actually put a Jones on a person. They had a person out of their mind or shaking, or they couldn't find a job, or some death occurred, or maybe they got sick in some kind of way. And so they start capitalizing off of this ability to put curses upon people. But my question is, are white people the only ones that's exempt or privileged enough to not have these curses affect them? Because it seemed like the only people that these curses will work on are Black people and Latinos. Latinos become possessed, they become sick, where the doctor can't find anything wrong with them. I have relatives in my family, even to this current day, that practice the dark arts. They came up in the South and they practice that, and they actually make money off of that. And I noticed that a lot of the people that make money off of this aren't really materialistic. In most cases, they don't look like they have a lot of money, but they make money to put spells upon people. I shared a story before of one of my family members. And he was basically gone. I mean, he was a drug dealer, kingpin, and he was going to be sentenced, and he was going to be sentenced a long time, right? There was like no doubt about it. He was going to be sentenced, right? So his mother was talking to a woman in Florida. Now, I was born in Pahokee, Florida. I was born in South Florida, the muck, next to Belglade. It's where that stuff is really strong, right? There's a lot of people in South Florida that can work that, and they work that quite well. But this is not what my question is, okay? I already asked my question, but this is just an add-on. So he was going to prison. He was going to be sentenced. Now, he lived in Elmira, New York. So his mother was talking to a woman or a relative in Florida, and this woman or the relative tells her that she knows a woman that's gifted or talented. So all she wanted was his name or date of birth, something very simple. And so when that woman spoke to her again, the woman that had the gift told her on the phone, I rocked him and I rocked him all night. He's going to be okay. Now, keep in mind, this woman is in South Florida. My cousin is in Elmira, New York. Right? So how could she rock him all night? She said, I rocked him all night. He's going to be okay. When he went to court that Monday, I don't know what that woman did in Florida, but the judge, the minute he walked in there, he wasn't in there no more than 5 minutes, and it was thrown out, completely thrown out. And they had every evidence against him. They had everything. It was done. It was a done deal. And when he got in that courtroom, everything was thrown out. And I'm like, what did she do? I need to talk to that woman to find out what she did. So I'm not saying it don't work. I'm not saying it's not real, because I've seen it work in my life, because I have family members that's practicing that stuff, right? So, but my question is, why is it that it's only effective on black people and Latino people? Whereas the slave master, even back in the time of so-called slavery, when many of our ancestors practiced that, my thoughts were always, why didn't they put a curse on the slave master to keep them in captivity for over 400 years, even to this very day? So is the white man's voodoo or curses stronger than our ancestors? Now, when I say the white man, I'm not talking about, I don't want you religious folk or Hebrew Israelites coming telling me how black people are cursed. I understand that. Keep it in context. I'm speaking from a completely, totally different context. Because they say the white man's the devil. But the white man had power enough to keep you in captivity. And not only did he keep you in captivity, but he's keeping you, even to this current day, fighting against each other. He was able to divide and conquer you. So even when you try to come together, you have no victory. You have no power. And even to this very day, black people are still on the bottom begging for crumbs. Even the Latinos are doing better than black America in society. So my question is, if our ancestors or current day black people that claim to have all of this power, this authority, this spiritual darkness, they are able to talk about the science of the spirit world. They're able to astral travel. They're able to do all of these things. They can possess people. They can curse people. They can just go out of their body and spy on people, like I've heard people talk about. They can curse people. But when it comes to the white man, they have no power. Why is that? So the white privilege, is it in effect when it comes to voodoo or witchcraft? And does voodoo and witchcraft and the dark arts and curses only work on black people and Latino? Why don't it work on white people? Why don't it work on the slave master? Now, I've seen white people do their little witchcraft, their witchy stuff as they call it. They light their candles and incense and they do different things. But black people and Latino take it to a completely, totally different level. They actually do blood sacrifices. And I'm not saying that white people don't do blood sacrifices, but black people do blood sacrifices. They cut the heads of chicken. That's what my family members do. The ones that practice that. They be cutting goats, chicken, and using the blood, just doing crazy things. See, so if I was that type of person that was into that or practice it, it's no thing for me to either, and I know a little bit about it because my father also did that, before he passed. He also did that stuff, man. So I guess in time I kind of picked up on some things, but it's no thing for me to pick up the phone and call somebody, right? But I'm not into that. But my question is, does it only work on black people? Because it seemed to only affect black people. It only seemed to curse black people. That's the only people that it have an effect on. Black people and Latinos. You don't hear no one else being affected by that. Indians, every now and then you'll see something where, you may see somebody from India that's possessed, or maybe in an Islamic sect, man. You may see somebody that have a jinn, or in the churches, they have somebody that's demon possessed. But I'm talking about people that claim to have knowledge on how to cast spells, that claim to have the knowledge to be able to curse people, to be able to make people's hair fall out, to make it possible for people not to get work, or for their business to fail, or for them to become crippled in some kind of way. It only works on black people. Or is that just a mind game? Is that a mind game where, okay, I'm going to put a curse on you, and then maybe 5 months down the line, then you claim it and say, oh, that's mine because I did that? Or is it because of the fact you really have no power that you think you have? Because a lot of people just play with the minds of people. They manipulate the minds of people and make them think they have power that they really don't have. So my question, when it comes to white privilege, are the only ones that are affected by voodoo and curses and witchcraft are black people and Latino? And I asked that question a few times, several times in this video, because I want you to understand what this video is about. And I like to have answers. Why don't it work on white people? Why don't you have power over that slave master? Why don't you have power over that government that's keeping you oppressed? But you know what? It seems that these witches, all of these white witches that claim to come together against Trump, is in effect because it's controlling you and using you as pawn. It's effective on you because now you're doing their work. And I didn't mean to bring politics into this, but I can't help but to notice that modern day black people are under a curse. And I mentioned this in a prior video where black people, that witchcraft seemed to have an effect on black people. They're under curse. Their minds have been bewitched to believe and support something that's against them. You're already in a cursed state. So now you're helping those that help to put you in that condition. So the witchcraft and the dark arts of the white people have effect on you, but the witchcraft and the voodoo, the ancestral religions that you claim to know, have no power and authority over them. Because if it did work, why aren't black people, or even those that practice, in a better state than you are today? Now, you may make money off of voodoo and witchcraft, but that money does you no good. There are so many people that have so much money from reading tarot cards, for call themselves for predicting the future. They're soothsayers. They charge in the thousands to be able to curse somebody. And there's people, even white people, that even pay that money to vex someone. They will pay money for you that claim to have power. They would actually pay thousands of dollars for you to vex someone. And they will pay you in advance. And there are people that tried to use witchcraft or voodoo on someone, and they were able to send that spirit back. And the results and the effect are a whole lot worse than when it was originally sent out. But notice, it's only between black people. It works when a black person sends a curse out. If that person have knowledge or they can send that curse back, it comes back to that black person. And the same thing with Latinos. But whenever black people try to send that curse out to white people, maybe your boss on your job or somebody, it has no effect. And let's just say that boss gets fired from their job. You're still not in a better condition that you were in before that person got fired. You're still on the bottom. And as a matter of fact, to this day, you're not working. And I'm not talking about any particular person, no individual, because I don't know. I'm just speaking as I speak. But if you look at your life and the condition of your life and your family's life, your children and your children's children, and you've buried your children, or you're visiting your children in and out of prison, sending care packages, but yet you put a curse on that so-called boss or white man. But yet it seemed like the curse had backfired and it's working on you. So again, with my original question, are white people exempt from voodoo, from ancestral religions, from Santeria, from witchcraft that's sent out by black people? And black people never try to vex or curse anyone else but black people. And that within itself is a curse. It's a curse for you to curse or have the ability to only curse people that look like you. Your power does not go beyond someone that looks like you. You can't curse an Arab. You can't curse a white man. You can't curse an Indian, someone from India. You don't even have power to curse an African that's from the continent. I had this African tell me, and I made a video about him in the past, and he claimed to be some type of, I'm going to say shaman by birth or whatever, witch doctor. And he was threatening to put voodoo on me and curse me and hex me, and it had no power, it had no authority over me. And I told him, you have no authority over me. You don't have that kind of power. Right? And he's the one I told you about that was calling me a beach. You beach. Right? That's the one. I made a video about him. Right? And to this day, he's doing bad. So, does the only people that voodoo and witchcraft work on are blacks and Latinos? And why don't it have an effect on white people? So feedback, tell me what you think. Until next time, I'm fearless.